Whoa! Hey guys, happy Sunday rest day, and we're here to answer the question from earlier this week, right? Why steak? Why red meat? Why is it so much better than white meat, fish, pork? You know, vegetables even. What makes red meat the best protein source in the world for your body, right? And we're not just talking about anabolically speaking, but well, for your overall health as well, you know? So let's break it down. There's a couple factors that lead into it. The first and foremost, and hands down the most important one, is the amino acid profile of these meats. So red meat, in particular, has essentially the most, let's say, packed and complete's a big deal here, amino acid profile that you'll find on this planet. So to understand what that means, if you don't really get it, because you just think amino acids are in protein and that's it, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of different amino acids, and there's 3 essential amino acids that, excuse me, I had like a baby burp there, that can only be found in animal products. Meaning that no matter how many vegetables you eat, beans, lentil, tofu, anything, it'll always be lacking it's either leucine or isoleucine, because the 3 essentials are valine, leucine, and isoleucine. It's the leucine or the isoleucine that vegetables in particular, no matter what, will never have present in them. So that being said, well, that's why vegetables are the worst, hands down. And we're not talking worst food for you in the world, although I do believe that. But just in terms of their protein, you know, what makes them tick, and what makes them quote unquote anabolic. You know what I'm saying? When you think of amino acids, I want you to think of a pill capsule, right? Like, let's just say an antibiotic. And it's a little plastic, dissolvable pill capsule labeled, let's say, amoxicillin, right? Now, this amoxicillin, if it's not full, and it's just an empty pill capsule in something labeled amoxicillin, it doesn't actually do anything for you, right? Because there's no amoxicillin actually in there. It's just labeled, and it's a biodegradable plastic. But what makes it amoxicillin is what's actually inside of there, right? Same thing with vitamin C, same thing with anything. The point is, just because something's labeled an amino acid or labeled protein, right, a gram of protein, it doesn't mean it has the amino acid profile that allows it to be complete. Because without a complete amino acid profile, the protein doesn't actually do anything, it's just calories. Your body needs all of those essential amino acids, primarily, but mainly all of them, but those essentials in particular, to truly do cellular repair in the body. And we don't have a gut development from an evolutionary standpoint that can convert lacking amino acids from vegetables into what we need. You know, that's what people say, but gorillas are this big and they only eat vegetables. Because first of all, they don't only eat vegetables. But besides that, aside that factor, they have a particular gut flora that allows them to, there we go, that allows them to convert certain amino acids into essential amino acids, because their body, from an evolutionary standpoint, understands that we need these amino acids, and based on our diet, we're not going to be getting them, at least not enough of them. Therefore, it converts certain amino acids into one of the 3 essential amino acids that it's lacking, because it simply doesn't get in its diet. Humans do not have that luxury. You know, we're omnivores for a reason. You look at cows, right? Cows have a 4-chambered stomach. They have a 4-chambered stomach because they're made to break down grass and very fibrous foods and a really, really long, large intestine. Humans are the total opposite. Humans have a 1 stomach, very small in comparison to our body, like everything else, right? And the shortest large intestine on this planet, in terms of lengthwise. You know, obviously it's bigger than a mouse's, but not lengthwise. You know? That large intestine, that's what's responsible for breaking down plant fibers, things like that, and absorbing it. Humans are omnivores in the sense of we're not supposed to eat vegetables. We're supposed to eat meat, and we're supposed to eat fruits. That's it, you know? So those fibers from those plants, from tofu, from beans, from everything, you're giving people an incomplete amino acid profile and expecting them to do something with it when realistically our bodies simply aren't made to do that. And they're completely incapable of doing that. And then you're relying on supplements. If you get me going on a rant about why vegetables are bad, excuse me, even though it's not even the topic of the day, I'll just go off. So, let me get back to why steak is great. Steak is great and vegetables suck, you know? That's going to be on my gravestone. But the amino acid profiles where we were with steak and talking about amoxicillin, right? Those pill capsules are filled to the absolute brim of the best quality and every single amino acid that is available on this planet from red meat. Now, those amino acids are all found in eggs, milk, chicken, turkey, fish, everything. It's available in all animal sources, right? That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is that is why it's so much better than vegetables, because vegetables are lacking them. Fruits are lacking them. All animal sources, in terms of amino acid, let's say capabilities, right? All of those animal products have all of them. Red meat, and red meat exclusively, has all of them in extremely high quantities. So even though they all have it, red meat will give you the most of it, if that makes sense, and the most absorbability. The second thing is CLAs, right? So if you know what CLAs are, they're essentially, just to break it down simply, they're one of the ways our body utilizes protein in an anabolic way during REM cycles. Now, grass-fed red meat in particular, grass-fed, and grass finish is great, but grass-fed at least, has the most absorbable form of CLAs and the only source of absorbable CLAs on the planet. And that stems once again from the amino acid profiles. The last big deal is the fat content in red meat. Even a lean piece of red meat will have more fat on it than a fatty piece of chicken, right? Just for instance. Now, fats are one of the best things for you, especially if you're a natural athlete, right? So when you're a natural athlete, I'm behind fucking Zippy McGee over here. I don't know if you guys can hear, but it sounds like his car is just farting the whole time. I couldn't imagine that being my car is nice and quiet. I like it. Unless I put it in the sport mode, then it's a little louder. But I couldn't imagine my car is like all day with the muffler when I'm just like going to get a cup of coffee in the morning. That would drive me out of my mind. Oh my God. But anyway, before he aggravated me. Excuse me. Guys, why'd you keep me up all night? I'm exhausted. I thought I got a good night's sleep too. But that last thing is the fats. And like I said, especially if you're a natural athlete, what happens is cholesterol, primarily the good sources of cholesterol, All cholesterol is good, but natural sources of cholesterol, things like beef, yeah, like beef fat, avocado, salmon, eggs, things like that. What people don't understand about cholesterol, and I've spoken about cholesterol more than once, is that it is the primary fuel source of your hormones and your thyroid in your body. Without that, cholesterol can't operate properly. So that fat, that good fat in beef, it allows your body hormonally to be as anabolic as possible and as healthy as possible, both from a regular health standpoint, blood work, etc., and metabolically. Now, what else do the fats do for you? The other big thing the fats do for you is it slows the metabolism down a little bit. And we always want a fast metabolism. But you got to ask yourself, at what point in our days do we want a slow metabolism, right? Not even slow, but just to slow things down a bit. It's when we're asleep. So, if you have beef, like a grass-fed organic beef, right before you go to bed every night, your body doesn't know what time it is. It knows if it's time to eat or not, if it needs some fuel. And then it knows when you go to sleep. That's it. It doesn't know what time of day it is. So if you have a meal at 11 o'clock at night, it doesn't matter. It doesn't going to make you fat. If anything, you want to do that. You want to have a good quality, protein-rich meal right before you go to bed. What happens is, our body does all of its cellular repair once we hit our first REM cycle and we're asleep. Now, if I have a lot of fats with my protein for that meal, it allows the protein to stay in my body longer because it doesn't just break down, get utilized, and then I have no additional protein in my body to work with that whole night. Because you got to remember, the body can store carbs, it can store water, it can store fat. It can't store protein. Any protein that doesn't get utilized in the kidneys gets pissed out as uric acid. So the goal is to use as much of that as humanly possible, every day, all day, and allow your body to keep running like a well-oiled machine. So those are the biggest things in terms of why beef is better than every other protein source, or red meat in particular, is better than every other protein source on this planet. Right? You have the complexity of the amino acid profiles, you have the fats, and you have, I forgot what else I said, I was going off on a rant, but you have more than one thing, right? And on that note, guys, I'll see you tomorrow for a awesome, wide as can be, big old back day. I'll see you then.